See that right there? Right, that's your flip.
Okay, go off there, girl.
Full moon meditation. Tribe.
Hey, y'all. Hope you guys are in positive energy. Hope you guys had a beautiful Friday. You are, just feeling good with this full moon energy.
What?
Hope you are embracing this retrograde we have been in. You have been holding on to your seats.
Tribe. What can I say? All praise to the Most High, Ashe to the ancestors.
Hello.
Tonight is a special night. But it was a powerful night. If you look outside, you might notice that the moon is extra, extra bright. And it's a reason. Did you know that tonight is considered a waxing gibbous moon? And this specific moon is called the wolf moon. And the reason being is because the moon is actually passing through the shadow of the earth, and it's enhancing. So the proximity of the moon is very close to the earth, and it's a lot of things being illuminated. So, you know, this is a time where you pat yourself on the back if you find yourself in alignment, right? Because the moon is shining into dark places. The moon is passing through the shadow of the earth right now. It's a very large moon. It's bright. Like it's very orange and it's very noticeable. Right? It's a very powerful moon. It's a great moon to be in alignment with. Like, you know, if you find yourself moving towards progression, you're on the right path, you know. In times like this, let's just be real. When you're dealing with this kind of energy and this kind of moon, if you are a person and your balance is off and you know, you're doing karmic things, the spectrum of illumination about the deed itself is going to be just like that moon out there. Like, it's going to be noticed. Like the moon is here to be noticed tonight. Like it's it feels good to be in alignment and to be in tune. Like we did 6 laws of the universe. If you check back on the channel, we've been having some things going on. High Priest has been doing a nice morning show, inspirational. What is it called? Inspirational.
The inspirational matinee.
Inspirational matinee. Right, and it's a good morning motivator, a good day starter. Right, and we got a series of teachings about the laws of the universe, and I was kind of going through them, so I decided to get back to it and come with number 7 and 8, which would be, matter of fact, before I get into this, by water, we connect with spirit through pure intent.
Facebook is crazy. Facebook said, don't forget your water.
Wow.
Okay. Thank you, Facebook. We see you.
We see you. Okay, y'all, so we're going to tap into it. We got the laws of rhythm and the law of polarity, right? The law of rhythm and the law of polarity. By water, we connect with spirit through pure intent. We in there. I feel it's magnetic energy, like it's like a surge to really want to express myself. So you gotta, if I come off passionate, you gotta ride with me because spirit is giving me a lot. So law number 7, the law of rhythm. The law of rhythm, it stipulates that it's a time to work and it's a time to play. This is a law that's about cycles and seasons. So in the law of rhythm, how do we make it work for us in our manifestations? Right? Well, I wrote down something. I did this a little differently. So I'm gonna tell you how it goes. The law of rhythm. A woman found herself at the age of 19 pregnant with one child, aged 2 years old. She also manifested the lower vibrations of her recent ancestors. So overwhelmed and chaotic, she went to the altar one Sunday morning, and she reached for the God of her understanding. This is in relation to season, okay? Now I'm going to bring it together. So a woman, she got to a point in her life where she was overwhelmed in differences, spiritual warfare, entity attachments, and this went on for a season. Like I said, she had 2 children. She decided to go and reach for the God of her understanding. Okay, so this is a season. When we do these kinds of things, we end a season, all right? Her season was when she was trapped. That season lasted all the way up until she decided to reach for a higher power, a God. Now, the seasons in your life, as in rhythm, okay? You got to be aware of what's going on. Failure to make a decision to end the season can have a major impact on your life and the extent of the season you in, which is rhythm, okay? I'm going to explain how. Follow me. Now this woman, she went, cried out to the God of her understanding. A season. She got a revelation. The next season, God told her to pour into her children, and this would add sustenance. So she then began to narrow her struggles down to the energy of her bedroom. Follow me now. Season, rhythm, okay? She went to God and got instructions. She heeded those instructions. This is rhythm and season and cycles. Next season. When a woman poured forth everything she had into her children, God provides a way. The children end up being successful. She meets a luxury that she can't even comprehend. Why? Rhythm. What's the rhythm in all this, Hierophant? Where you headed? See, before she was able to even reach into the life that she envisioned for herself and her children, she had to first set a rhythm. A rhythm is the beginning of the vibration. The rhythm is like she set a rhythm. That rhythm, it led to a new season. In that season, she lived in the rhythm. It still was struggle, but she managed to narrow it down to the bedroom, come out the bedroom, deal with the children accordingly, go back in the bedroom with the struggle, and this is how she pulled forth. This is still rhythm and season. So the rhythm that she set, sincerely, with the divine, see, this is not for platoy measures. When you're dealing with rhythm of life, all right, it's like the energy of, thank you, Spirit. Remember when in the Bible, the energy of the Bible, when Christ came and he ate something, and they was like, what are you eating? And he basically was like, it's not what I put in my mouth that's going to defile me. It's what comes out the mouth that defiles me. But first of all, back it up. What was he doing by eating something that was deemed unclean? He was breaking what's known as the Leviticus laws. It was a Levitical diet that you're supposed to keep as a Hebrew or as a Jew. He went against that. So when he went against that, essentially, they bought the book at him, like they did in many instances. And you know what he told them each time? Basically, I'm the new rhythm. All right? I'm the new rhythm. So basically, you got to realize when you're dealing with the law of rhythm, it's basically the undertone to your manifestation. Where, for instance, you might be moving in the energy of lack. That doesn't necessarily mean that you won't achieve. It's according to the rhythm you set. See, if you already set the rhythm, when you fall in lack, it's an energy that'll pull you out of lack. That's because you set the rhythm. And many of us, we don't do that. Like, remember, rhythm, seasons, cycles, manifestation. Like, for instance, tonight, it's a cycle, right? It's the moon cycle. It's the full moon cycle. It's a particular full moon cycle. So what that means is it's a time to be aware of, well, what am I doing with my rhythm, right? Because on nights like this, first of all, I just made up a little funny little tune about tonight. And I was like, with the Bang for Witches, you got to watch them because in the middle of the night, they be cooking up the spell work. The middle of the night, right? It's like, on nights like tonight, it's like, but people do things, and most importantly, we ensnare ourselves by what we doing on nights like this unconsciously. What you doing right now, it's like, it's a determining factor in the universe. When the universe does things, right? Look at God as living throughout every element of the universe so you can understand it. So when the moon is creeping through dark spaces, it's assimilated to God's eye opening up in places where people don't think they could be seen or where energies may think they're hidden when it's that bright. So if you could look at it like that, then you could look at it as, well, whatever I'm doing right now, chances are I could be bonding myself to this rhythm, right? According to the universe. Because the universe keeping track. Like this right here, it's like wax and gibbous moon. Tonight, what are you doing? The universe is like this. Oh, this person is doing bang for magic tricks. Okay. What's the energy? Karma. Depending upon who they aiming it at. Because see, the universe is not necessarily a fair place. This is why we got to guard ourselves and protect ourselves. But most importantly, it starts with what we doing to ourselves. What are you doing? Under this kind of moon, what are you doing? Chances are, if you somewhere and you're doing something, you're going to be bonded to what you're doing with a certain kind of rhythm. It's like, I'm trying to get it where I can explain it. It's almost like, imagine the universe say, whatever you're doing right now, you're going to be stuck doing it. That kind of energy. On nights like tonight. Because this is an intentional night.
Like if everything was to freeze.
You stuck.
Right
there.
Stuck right there.
It's like God taking a picture with the universe. What are you doing right now? Right? And that's not to make anybody scared, right? It really is not. Honestly, it's just to shed light and insight and awareness. Absolutely. People going to pretty much do what they want to do. But with the law of rhythm, it's the undertone. Like, you can't expect to want something from the universe when it's a deeper part of you that's saying that's not what I want. And it's absolutely that. And not only that, if it's a part of me that's saying I don't really want it, but I'm saying out my mouth I want it, you want to at least focus on that part of you. Like, you got to be like, well, maybe I'm not ready for what I'm calling in. Let me look at myself. Well, where can I get? Because these are things that's going to help you master vibration and master frequency that you seek. But it still had to be a rhythm. Like, I venture off to say, you can't even establish the level of frequency without a steady rhythm. Like, rhythm is like the beginning of vibration. So when you're dealing with the law of rhythm, it's like setting tempos in your universe. That could be a real moderate way of putting it. Like, what type of tempo are you setting with the undertone of what you're doing? Not what people see you doing, or not what you fake yourself out to be doing.
I just said something like that the other day. I was like, one of my mentors used to say, it's not, a man's character is judged by what he does behind closed doors.
Yeah.
When nobody can see him.
Yeah. And it's crazy that you said that, because in this thing that we live called life, I was a person that was trained to take, I could call them street cuts, right? Not necessarily shortcuts, not necessarily advantages, just things you pick up along the way. And a lot of them, it gave me a certain type of wisdom. But I learned as I began to get older, right? It's always best to look at things and say, I'm not going to try to take a shortcut. I'm going to get to the source of what got to be done in the issue. Like, so, see, I get this slipping off track. Back to the energy of rhythm, the law of rhythm. I got so many things drifting around in my mind right now. But back to the law of rhythm before we get lost. When you're setting out to do something, just pay attention to your intent. I'm hearing them say. Like, because a lot of what I say, if you're not really trying to connect yourself to nothing, it might fly over your head. But you can definitely connect to this. Whatever your intentions are behind whatever you start doing, that's going to be the rhythm that you set, right? And I'll say this for my gifted ones. If you're doing something with your gift and you're looking at it like, I want, my sole purpose for doing this, I want to be paid to do it, right? Depending upon what type of gift it is, you gotta, because your intention that you setting for yourself is not good. Like, if God gave me a gift that's meant for other people, and I'm worried about what I can get off of the gift, right?
That can't be the gift.
My intentions, what am I might make everybody else's life good, but what about my life in the end? Because my intentions is, yes, to deliver the gift, but to do it for my own reasoning. Like, and so that's not the energy that you want to be in, and that's rhythm. Like, so pay attention to your rhythm that you're setting. And it was the law of polarity. And the law of polarity, this law right here is kind of one of the hardest things for me as a person. Because the law of polarity, it's like the energy of, when I would do good, evil is always present. Or the righteous man is beset on all four sides by iniquity. The law of polarity, it's like what we want the most can end up becoming what we not, we could bring what we want the most, we could bring it in as what we never ever wanted to have, or the worst thing we can imagine. Straight from the energy of what you wanted to be the best thing, it can manifest as the worst. Because the law of polarity, you have to apply. And what basically, so what are you saying? All right. When I step out there to do something good, I basically wake up every evil to go against whatever good there is. That's polarity. Polarity means like, when you got the energy to feel like you real good and mighty, the energy for you to be the exact opposite, it exists right in that energetic field with it. That's polarity. It's opposites. It's the duality. And that goes along with manifestation because it comes into play. It's like you want something.
So it'd be like a fall from grace.
Polarity? No, the law of polarity is like, it's basically understanding like that it's two sides of you at work at all times. So if you're going to go manifest something good and you're not doing the knowledge to the evil that exists within your fear, then you're doing yourself a disservice, and polarity going to work opposite. That's why a lot of people in high places, they fall into evil spiritual areas.
Fall from grace.
Yeah, and they do it. Yeah, yup. They do it. Like you said, they fall from grace in a sense. And it's because you don't really realize. You don't really realize, like, when you get that locked in, you don't really realize that you even becoming the evil that you saying other people is, because now you get to the place where you just don't even really see it. And that's kind of the worstest, that's the worst thing imaginable. The law of polarity. When I would do good, evil is always present. So it's about acknowledging, like, that it's not going to be easy to manifest anything. It's always going to be a tug at your energy. It's like, if you want to get, it's like, if you want to get better, it's going to be something there to pull you back to being worse, right? But if you don't acknowledge it, then you don't have respect for the law of polarity. You get caught in a situation where you don't want to be. It's only because that law is going to play out no matter what. It's like, you want good, all right, well, here comes the bad. It's just like that. Like, and it's not the bad around you, it's in you. You want the best version of you, well, here comes the worst version of you. Why? Because the law of polarity, it exists. This duality is yin and yang, right? Negative, positive, however you want to weigh it. And everything that you consider powerful, that's the energetic signature of it. What we deem powerful, what we taught and trained to see as powerful, it has the yin and yang element. All of it. No matter what it is, any type of energy, right? It's good and it's evil. Energy, present, right? The only way to balance one or the other properly is to be aware of the other one. That's the only way you're going to obtain balance when you're dealing with that kind of energy. If you become ignorant to any one of them, you're going to be taken over by that one. Mm-hmm. And it's not good to be taken over by light energy or dark energy. And the reason why I say that, if you feel like it's good for you to be consumed with light energy, then first of all, you don't understand the power of the light workers that you admire, like Buddha, Jesus, and all, because these people lived in dark areas. They lived in what's called, is known as the shadow. This is the place where they lived at. They had to live there to gain an understanding. So they never was people that sought to live in the balance of complete lightness. That's the image that we project. It's like, I'm over here, I'm shining, I'm light, they dark. None of that, right? Unless you're a person that's looking at everything and explaining to people, yo, you got light and dark with you. That's the law of polarity. It's going to be right there. So if a teacher is not giving you that and feeding you that, you got, it's not no, I'm walking on the light side, I'm on my way on the staircase to heaven, and they on their way to the staircase to hell. That's judgment. That you already in the, if I say that to any man, I put myself in the wrong energy already, because polarity gonna kick in. Why? Because nobody has the authority to do that. Only a person that really lack true wisdom about what's really going on in life gonna look at life like that. Because you will end up judging people. And you know one thing about chosen ones and individuals that bear those type of energies, they will always be mistaken as something else. Matter of fact, Spirit said, say this. I had this download and I just got it back. It slipped away. You know how you can tell when you're dealing with a chosen one, honestly? If you're dealing with or not even a chosen one, a powerful person with a power on them. When you're dealing with a person, and this is the law of polarity as well, you ever come into contact with a person and you laid your stereotype on them like, oh, they that type of way. And then they showed up a different day and confused you like, oh, they much more than what I thought. Those type of energies, you got to back away from them. Why? Because you already didn't, your mind already don't comprehend. It's real rap. I've done it before a lot. You know how you put a person in a box like this, them, and then they show up in another energy, and you like, oh, somewhere inside of you lets you know like, oh, I was wrong, right? That's when you step away, because certain people's energies is not meant to be readable to you. There's a reason why. Either that energy can hurt you or that energy is being protected, but there's a reason why. So when you fall in that category with people, instead of keep going on, fall back. Like, I was wrong about the person. Let me step back and reassess it, because we do that a lot. We'll see somebody becoming something that we'll say, all right, this person is like this. Clearly they not. And then we do it again, and then it puts us in a loop where as though, let go of that. Realize it's polarity. You couldn't see it. You know, it's not meant to be seen about everybody. And I don't know why Spirit got me going this way, but it's really real. Like, it's the truth. When you're dealing with the laws of polarity, and you can't determine like what's really evil and what's really good in your life, you're gonna be so confused and do so many battles, and then at the end of it, you're gonna see like a lot of things you thought was good, they're gonna be bad. A lot of things you thought was bad, they're gonna be good. And it's all because we're not taught to respect that law. If we really respect the law of polarity, we'll look at things and see right beyond them. Like, we'll look at, even sometimes when we under attack, we'll look at it and be like, I don't feel like doing it, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it, because I know how I'm feeling ain't really my energy. That's polarity, like understanding polarity. That's like meeting the so to speak, the good old man. He real good, but behind that, it's something more that you see, right? That's the polarity. That's when you begin to see, or either meeting a man or a woman that come off to the world as being very mysterious or evil, and then in the end, you end up saying, oh, no, that's not that. That's a person that's understanding the laws of polarity, because you begin to understand, like, this could be the opposite from what I see it as. This is not what it appears to be. Your mind, you start training your mind to understand that, because you really stop stereotyping good and evil. I think that's one of our major deterrents. Like, we put things in the category of this is good or this is evil. And the whole while we're not really realizing we program this way. You know, and perhaps that's why things don't manifest as they could in this dimension. Like, you hear about the way the creatures are in the holy books and how they look. Imagine if you saying something like that. What would you do? Your heart might can't stand it, because of the way we train. We would fear something that was probably actually holy. If it did manifest, you know, we would fear it because of what we taught. Like, we taught to fear horns and, like, you know. So, yeah, polarity is just like understanding is a negative and is a positive. And your attraction power and what you're manifesting, it's not all, you know, nothing you manifest is going to come in without that balance in it. Like, real live. Spirit saying, even if you was to be a person that manifests off of darkness, right? And that's all you do, the balance of good is still there, because it lies in your judgment. Like, if I'm a person that does nothing but darkness, good still is in the balance of my deed, because everything I'm doing, it brings forth the currency of judgment. So that follows the deed. So good is there. The balance is there. It's, you gotta realize,
divine
like,
order.
that's polarity. Like, that's life, and we can see ourselves a lot better when we look at it like that. Like, some of the things that people pointed out in your life and said, "Oh man, you so great for that. You begin to look at it as like, man, I was arrogant, and I should have not took so many people saying those things to me, because it put me in reverse, right?" And then sometimes it's like the things that people said you was bad, you know, but I don't like that. As you begin to grow, you begin to see, oh, they was things of the divine that people didn't understand. Mm-hmm. So, and all of this comes in polarity. Helps you really see things as what they are and not what they appear to be. So that was a hard one. It's always hard, but then again, it's always easy during these powerful nights. See, these is the nights where they throw you in the groups.
Put your picture up.
Yeah, and
they start cooking up these spell works.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night.
Cooking up spell work.
In the middle of the night. In the middle of the night, they started cooking up the spell work. I can't even say it. Man, sometimes when I sit up here and I talk and I let Spirit give me downloads and the ancestors bring different things, I don't even remember. I don't remember half of what I said. I have to go back and listen. And it's like trying to explain something.
That was,
that you feel like, I feel that people can relate to what's being said, but it's a thing where maybe you have to have experiences with the metaphysical or be open to it. You think?
I think that you explained it very well. It's the duality, you know? Everything that has a positive has a negative, just like a battery. Mm-hmm. You know?
Right.
So I think you did a wonderful job explaining it.
I hope so.
And I thank you. Because I wanted to make sure I had it right too, you know? So, yeah, I think you gave a great breakdown. And I said a fall from grace, so because sometimes people are visual. So I'm like, okay, imagine if you're up here and then you have to go here, right?
Right. Oh, I did write this down. I'm gonna give y'all this before I go, just because it's the wax and givens.
Why not?
The magnitude of timeline jumping is the magnitude of timeline jumping is that you can bring in the best possible outcome or the worst. So they talk about what is quantum jumping. So all right, break it down real fast and easy. It's versions of you that exist in what's known as the multiverse. You know that they exist because they are in your subconscious mind so deeply embedded that they manifest in our thoughts as, what if I did this? You know that version that you be like, well, what if you exist. That in the version, just in the lower life, that version exists. The lowest imagination of yourself. And why? Because time is an illusion and energy is kinetic. So when you timeline jump, what you do is you move out of a timeline that you exist in with the destiny and the fate and all of that, the energy, and you move into another one that you exist. See, so it's a lot of, man, the quantum energy is not like you leaving Earth. Get it out of your mind.
Back to the future.
Yo, but it's so powerful like that because when you quantum jump, right, you shift timelines in your life, right? All right.
But you're constantly quantum hopping because every time you make a decision, right?
Right? Yeah. Okay, so
puts you in a different timeline, right? Depending upon your decision that you make.
So I would say when you quantum jumping, I would say maybe it has to be something that connects you with the universe because I don't know. I can't really define the physics of it. It's something like that though. I would say decisions, but I think they would have to be like life-altering decisions, right? Maybe not. because I was speaking about quantum jumping, and I've seen it in my neighborhood growing up. You know how, like, I knew a dude, he was nice with basketball, and the energy for him to go was there. Like, it was like everybody could see, yo, he gonna go to the league. But substance came in, he shifted into another version of himself. See, and that's what quantum jumping is, because when you see him 20 years later, his existence was defined by his shift in quantum energy. Like, he went into a timeline, and this is how it happens. That decision. And it's easy to view it like that. Spirit say, when you look at a person quantum shifting down to the lower version, I guess we see that a lot. But what's really hard for a lot of us to comprehend or grasp about ourselves is the shift into the best version of yourself.
Well, what about the decision when you decided to stop doing this and this, and then you met that energy right there, and then you went up.
And then you go up, and then you shift, right.
The decisions that we make is how the timeline gets changed.
And then it gets in the quantum energy.
Deeper, huh?
I would say in that quantum portal, it get real shifty because you still bringing in, because you still working out the older you.
That's true.
Meeting a newer version of you.
Yeah.
So that's why shadow work is important, because it's like, you know, you like, well, imagine you manifesting and you in a portal and you coming up and then you bring something. I ain't really want this. I'm like, well, I didn't really want to bring this. But it's still an old version of you. And it's still, you know, like the quantum energetic timeline shift is an energy that we mistake because Hollywood did it to us. Like, we can't perceive a lot of realities because Hollywood fictionalized them. Like, you can't, like, you know, they take, for instance, they'll take an energy from, like, the underworld or another realm, and they'll fictionalize the energy. Like, this is not a real thing. So now when you come into contact with it on a spiritual level, you accept it as this is fictional.
Oh, like all those current movies we watch, and it'll be like, you know, that last one we watched. What was that last? With the attachments. I don't want to call them out. That movie we watched. What is it? New. Oh my gosh, man! You know exactly what I'm talking about.
What's what?
The man with the Legion of Demons.
Oh yeah. I don't even want to say the name of the movie,
I
right?
said I didn't want to say. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, but like that, right? Like, you know.
It's the name of a evil energy, and they made a movie out of it, and they fictionalized it so much so that the reality of it could be lost on you when you see it and you occur in spirit. Because most of the things that we like, you know, you hear people talk about reptilians and draconians and people not being humans. Okay, these things, they still wrapped in a human avatar. But the soul of that's what the spirit of you. So people are becoming more spiritually aware now. I see a lot of posts where people be like, well, now I see the spirit of people. And I'm glad. That's encouraged. Like, boy, that's ascension.
Yeah.
Because look, boy,
a collective.
That's what you're looking at.
That's
right?
real.
You looking.
Can't look at the skin, huh?
Look beyond, because you're dealing with people. It's a lot of non-human people that walk among us, right? And that's what you have to understand. It's people that are indeed reptiles underneath it all. It's people that are soulless entities. It's people that are high-ranking archangel presences, earth angels. There's people you don't know what's inside of a person's soul.
You don't know who's who nowadays.
Until you begin to truly look through your spiritual eye. Like, you know how people say your third eye? Well, they even fictionalize that to a degree where, you know, we all begin to see with the third eye. But it takes a lot of work to decalcify your pineal gland. Like, when you have a Kundalini ascension or a Kundalini awakening, that doesn't come by just, yeah, I'm a third eye open, I read mad books and all. Yo, you can read as many books as you want. That's not going to decalcify your pineal. You got to go through life. You got to be broken into ascension. People don't reach ascension by, you will never reach ascension into your higher conscious until you exhaust the former consciousness. Like, it has to be exhausted to the point where as though and it's not something that you can willfully do. Like, you won't know the gift that's in you unless you surrender to it. You can't invoke a gift. Like, you can't just, I read all these books, I invoke. See, that's not ever going to work. It has to be crushed out of you. Like, real rap. Your ascension, because your normal consciousness is not fit for a higher level of thought. It won't sustain you. Then you'll go crazy, right? So when you ascending, you essentially do feel like you're going crazy, right? You have to reach. It's like, it's a fine balance in ascension. It brings you to the brink of delusion, and it brings you to that brink so that you can see the reality of what you thought was unreal. And then you go back to a balance. Some people can't return back, but those of us who strong enough, that's why we able to tap into the metaphysical. We can see the energies and all of that. It's because this has been decalcified. It's like being initiated. Thank you, Spirit. Spirit says it's an initiation. And that's what you should be aiming for, right? Pen that for the law of polarity, right? How about beginning to look at life as something that's very spiritual as well as something that you feel physical sensation through? Because you know what they say? A lot of us, we could be walking with the most soulless energy, and depending upon how they look physically, we would infect ourselves with whatever they bring into us. That's how the world is designed, thus and so. The illusions make the dangerous energies look real appealing. That's the secret recipe, right? So unless you can really train yourself to do the work that's needed, like when you want to ascend into a higher conscious, you can't buy your way into it. Thank you, Spirit. You can't have money. Money is good. It is. Like, money answer of all things, the Bible said. But one thing about money gonna prevent you from the energy of ascension. Now, ascending will bring you what you need, but you can't have money looking for a spiritual ascent. The currency don't work like that, and that's what people do. You have to watch people because they'll use money and they'll buy things because money make people think that they have liberties, right? But you don't have those kind of liberties because they only come by way of initiation. They come by way of having to really go through it. Like, you have to go through, a tarot card, thank you, Spirit. It speaks of cards like the Hermit and the Magician, right? And all of these energies and these arcanas, when they rest on humans, these are humans that have exhausted their normal consciousness. They've been through something. When you bear a major arcana, you've been through something. You have to, you know how they say, in the Old Testament, the Spirit of the Lord used to rest upon people, right? And it was a different kind of energy, and I feel like that is applicable now. Like, You know, you want to be in the mode where the spirit can rest on you in a sense of discernment, meaning like you got to be responsible enough. And how does the universe know you're responsible enough to bear gifts, or how are you responsible enough? Do you have the integrity? First, the universe got to see you be tried. You have to be a person that's been tried by life. Because you got to have it, man. Like, when you're dealing with the ancestors, right? I heard somebody say this. The high vibrational ones, they'll never come down to you. And God ain't either, right? God give you grace, but God has always been the energy that you got to step to, right? Remember in the Bible it said 1 step towards him, 2 step towards you, right? So we got to rise up. You got to step up. So what is stepping up? Stepping up is when you see life is breaking you and God is trying to shift you into another timeline, right? It's the ability to be like, all this that's coming is working for me. And that God sees he can trust you. The universe deems you appropriate, right? To move forward. Because many people, they crash and tumble. That means that you're not appropriate, right? Sometimes it gets like that. Like everybody not meant to reach the best version of themselves. And you know, some people are just have a karmic destiny or whatever. But for those of us that are chosen to do what we chosen to do, all that come along with it. Right? That's that kind of energy. Like, it's gonna be a test, and it's gonna be worth it each and every time. And I can say that because the quality of life, it improves, like with the understanding of life, it improves the quality of life. And I can attest to that. Like, that's real. Like, that's what happened. I watched that happen with myself, right? So I don't so much worry about, oh man, is I'm going to heaven, or oh man, is I'm going to hell? Nah, I worry about deeper spiritual matters, right? It's more deeper than that. Like, what about the ones that came before us and the ones that come after us, and even the ones that we can't get it right here with now? All of this, right? This has to get fixed according to your karma. Remember, once they saying in every bloodline that's ever been known to us as mankind, right? It's always been one to defile it and one to straighten it back out.
Mm-hmm. That's real.
And every real bloodline.
That's remember
when you was I know what you was about to tell me about Joseph. She was speaking about, she had came and told me about Joseph and how what Joseph did. It was out the book of the Jubilees. Mm-hmm. And it was a real interesting read, but it was speaking about Joseph from the aspect of what he did for Ethiopia as a whole. He set the tempo for things to be arranged so they could have their freedom before they went into slavery, which was crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like Joseph's brothers sold them out. And in turn, they cursed their bloodlines.
And then remember, God had said one of the twins was going to be the good one. He would lead the Israelites, and the other Esau would.
No, that's a different story. Yeah, that's Jacob.
I mean, yeah, but that was another story showing how
Polarity,
a divine plan that God knew this set of brothers, this set over here would be the bad ones, and this set would lead the land. Right?
Jacob and Esau, yeah, same old type of.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just kicked it with y'all, and it's important that we did tonight, because our intentions are set with the universe, and I hope that yours are too. I hope that overall you got something out of these laws, like the law of rhythm and the law of polarity. And before I leave, the last thing I want to say is Spirit says even your intuitive adversary needs something to go on. Your most intuitive soul, you know, that goes a long way. Just process it. The most intuitive adversary that you have, they still need something to go on from you. So, you know, always remember it's best to guard yourself. And that's a tight fit, because I feel Spirit is saying, when you go to talking, and you know you go to getting with these people or whatever, it's leading to people being able to see more, because maybe you got intuitive adversaries. They can pick up on the little things you do. They see into them. They might see further into them than you can imagine. But even the most intuitive adversary, not so sharp when they don't have nothing to go on. So guard your energy. Like, keep your energy, Spirit says, sacred, right? Sacred. I really believe that somebody, you know, maybe you just putting too much of yourself out there. I feel like you losing your battles with people, because it's not your purpose, right? You guarded in your purpose. Like most of us, we guarded. Like what I do right now, I'm guarded. I'm confident in that. But what we do outside of our purpose, you know, you open up the intuitive people, and so be quiet. Don't say nothing. They don't have nothing to go on. Don't do nothing. Don't agree to nothing. Oh, and in your dream state, don't take water, food, sex, money. Don't take nothing when you're in your dream state. Just tell yourself, because I hear people say, well, how I'm going to do it if I'm dreaming? Remember what we said, rhythm. You gotta, when you woke, you gotta know, like, once you determine when you woke, I ain't gonna do that. When you sleep, you will carry the same determination. Even though we vulnerable when we sleep, we still protected. So the only thing you can't be protected from is what's in your heart. So if your heart is right, and you be protected from it, but your sleep state, sometimes you know things come. And if you happen to be asleep and somebody bring you something or offer you something and you sleep and it feels real, always say no. That was that. We out of here.
Probably see y'all guys on YouTube later or whatever.
I don't know why Spirit is like, just be here. And I'm going to check off, but I don't know. Maybe it's somebody out there, and I don't know, maybe you need help of some sort. And maybe you don't feel that you could trust the process of the things that we say. But I assure you, if Spirit is leading you a certain way, you gotta follow the leading of Spirit. Like, get out your traditional belief systems. Stop putting everything in the evil and good box, and pay attention to what's going on with you spiritually, whoever you may be. Because there's enough of us getting beat up by spirits that we think is right but are really wrong. Like, it's enough of that's a lack of understanding. And sometimes people from other nations, they look at us and they wonder why we suffer so much due to lack of ancestral understanding and contact and belief. Like, we be getting beat by spirits that we making friends with. And then we run to the same places where the spirits live, because sometimes we think they holy, or sometimes we think that they not, whatever the case may be. There's always something there to trick us. But if you know you need help in your spirit and you really want to see what's going on, you know, This what we here for. This what we here for. Like, your traditional understanding has nothing to do with it. You can look at us as dark, you can look at us as light, whatever you want. But we two people that can tell you what's going on in the spiritual aspect of your life, which is as above, so below. Many people have ailments physically because you got spiritual ailments. They manifest into the physical. Like, so I feel that's that. We love you all. Catch us on YouTube in a few. God bless you.